Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Before starting, subscribe and like the videos, it really helps a lot. The content from this video are taken from the web novel and manga series of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Now please enjoy the video. Part 2. I inquired with the librarian where the investigation records of the Metastasis Labyrinth was located, and passed the remaining time until lunch came, lost in reading. It wasn't a very thick book. It was barely the thickness of a notebook. The number of pages was less than 100. The story was about Enis Macedonius, who was an adventurer from the northern lands who was said to have challenged a labyrinth. The labyrinth he challenged was said to be the Labyrinth of Metastasis. It was a rare labyrinth where it was said that all of the traps were teleportation traps. And there were 5 kinds of monsters that inhabited it. All of the monsters were highly intelligent, and knew the locations in the labyrinth where the traps would fling adventurers to. When an unfortunate person steps on the teleportation trap, they are sent to a room where there are usually a large number of monsters waiting to kill them. It is difficult to avoid stepping on traps during battles within the labyrinth. If the battle becomes complicated, then the whole party could end up scattered throughout the labyrinth. The labyrinth's difficulty level is classified as extremely high. Enis and his associates went to challenge the labyrinth, and investigated about the teleportation traps while they were there. Chiefly, there are 3 kinds of teleportation traps. 1. One-way teleporting. It is always to the same location, returning must be done manually. 2. Two-way teleporting. There is usually a magic formation which can return you back the same way somewhere in the location one was teleported to. 3. Random teleporting. There is no way of knowing where you will end up, and no guarantee of being able to go back. In the Metastasis Labyrinth, it's just a matter of aiming for the interior of the cavern while repeatedly dealing with the teleporting traps that move you further inside. However, the random teleporting traps are interspersed. If one accidentally steps on it by mistake, the party can be separated, and one person can be stuck fighting solo against a huge swarm of monsters. There was even a record on how to recognize a random teleport magic formation over other types. In the middle of the story, Enis discovered a method of use to allow him to be transported towards the back of the labyrinth rapidly. Enis and company gradually got careless, and they thought they would be able to conquer the labyrinth. However, they were not able to tell the method with certainty how to distinguish the trap. The final part of the story involved failing to identify a formation correctly, and stepping on a random teleportation trap which put an end to the party. Enis was surrounded by a large amount of enemies, and though he lost his right hand, he somehow managed to survive. However, he lost 3 colleagues at the same time. And since Anima's body was no longer able to fight, he gave up adventuring. The end of the book was a story of why it was written, and that the secrets of capturing the labyrinth were entrusted to whoever read this book. Whether this story was fiction or non-fiction is unknown. However, the fact that his party Monster House ended up dividing into new parties is considerably amazing. In my previous life, I seem to remember an RPG that had a dungeon similar to one like this. However, the conditions required in order to clear the dungeon in the game are different. It's not always possible to reach the final level in one of this world's dungeons. Although other adventurers have said that at the innermost part of the labyrinth is almost always a magic crystal. However, I wouldn't be surprised to find there was one fraudulent dungeon that didn't have an achievable end to it. The study with regard to the random teleportation magic formations appeared at the end of the book. Essentially the limitations and ranges of the random teleportation formations, and the usual or unusual characteristics. Also, that it is highly unlikely to wind up being teleported into the middle of something, like the ground or a wall, even if it is inside a cave. If it's the case with Enis, it's because the magical power of the metastasis ahead and the magic of the thing itself doing the metastasis repel each other. This may be related to the concept of not being able to materialize and attack magic directly inside the body of a person. Attack magic cannot be generated directly into the body of another person. Even I seem to have been aware of that principle. However, the recovery magic is able to be done inside of the body of another person. It's fuzzy logic like that what keeps me from being able to use chantless incantation healing magic. Even if it's related to metastasis, such a theoretical exception may work. Even if earth magic is generated from the soil, it cannot be generated into it. Unexpectedly, it is a simple theory. To move a person's body to a certain space may require a certain level of extra magic over the normal required amount. While thinking, the noon bell sounded. Time flies. Part 3. I head to the meeting place with Zanoba. It's the dining room. The dining hall is a separate building with 3 floors. Students are separated by hierarchy. The 3rd floor is for royalty and nobility of the human race. The 2nd floor is for the commoners of the beast race. The 1st floor is for adventurers and demon race. I think this is more distinction than discrimination. When nobles eat with demons and adventurers, fights happen too often. And there is a big difference, like table manners and such. Because I am an adventurer, I thought the 1st floor would be good. Please come this way. Zanoba recommended that we will get a better meal and service on the 3rd floor, so he is pulling me along. When I appeared from the stairs, the gaze of everyone was on me all at once. It seems that with the current shape I'm in, the smell of commoner is oozing out of me. I am wearing my robe over my uniform because it is cold outside. The grey robe bought 5 years ago, the cuff is worn out, and large patches are visible near the chest. Since I have become taller recently, likewise it has appeared smaller on me. To say it bluntly, it is a shabby thing now. There were some students on the 1st, 2nd floors who wore a robe as a countermeasure against the cold outside. However, there was not even one person on the 3rd floor who did. Those of the 3rd floor who wished to stay warm would wear a mantle or cardigan. If I use an easy-to-understand analogy, if everyone is wearing a suit, I alone am wearing a jersey. Even I, who don't care about clothes, can read the piercing atmosphere. Zanoba, I don't think I'm agreeable to the atmosphere here. Could we possibly go eat on the 2nd floor? I don't go down to the 2nd floor, because of Rinoa and Persena. Then, what about the 1st floor? The number of crass people on the 1st floor who do not comprehend a concept such as table manners is high. Royalty such as myself will not for a single moment share company with the likes of them. Then, I guess we will be eating apart. How cruel. This one up until now hasn't been able to meet Shushu. Does he not think of how much I must have had to endure? At least take a meal together with myself. Please don't make me have to stomach eating here. We argued on the edge of the stairs. Though the stairs were made wide, because of us, some students are having an issue going past us who are blocking the top. At that moment, Kya, it's Luke-sama. From downstairs, I hear noisy voices. Those shrill voices approach closer. Luke-sama is next to me. No way. Luke-sama, don't go. Nay, Luke-sama, for your next date, would it be alright if I also go with you? One lady killer, besieged by women, tries to make the climb up the stairs. I can't possibly do that. I am sorry, I can't possibly date more than 2 women at once. You see, I only have 2 arms. If I were to date 3, since I don't have 3 arms, that lady would feel terrible if I was unable to lead her around as well, right? That would be disappointing. Fufu, terrible, right? Because I'm such a popular person. Let's make a date for another time, alright? Certainly, if it's next month, my left arm will be vacant by then. While saying some incredible things on the way, from downstairs came the boy who looked Paul-like. On both sides of the boy are girls whose chests are clearly cramped into their uniforms. Moving his hands to their waists, while laughing frivolously, he climbs the stairs. This is definitely the same fellow I saw at the entrance ceremony. Luke was what he was called, right? What was his family name? Skywalker. While pondering that, suddenly his eyes focused on me. Hey you, Luke's eyes narrowed. That frivolous face from before gradually steepens. If I remember right, the one of Fitz. As he said that, I bowed immediately. This person was also one who saw the match between Fitz and I. And while it seems Fitz might not be angry any longer, because he is a colleague, there may be some lingering feelings of animosity with this one too. These kind of people tend to worry about the honor of the group members. It is nice to meet you. I am Rudeus Greyrat. From this day forward I hope to receive your favor. Please kindly look after me, senpai. I know of you, heard about it from Fitz. Luke looks at me in a disagreeable way. Then, I take it that you know my name already. No, like the younger brother of an end-of-the-century champion suddenly being asked a question, I shook my head. Though I have heard the name Luke, I didn't know his real name. I see. So you have no consideration for others, do you? Sorry. If it is all right with you, may I please receive the honor of knowing your name? For a little while, Luke just looked into my face with a sullen mood. After a while, he let out a harumph, and then a snort. I am Luke Rudeus Greyrat. What's this? Is it not impossible? Perhaps I should tell you, but that robe, why unfashionable, you should probably start by trimming the edges on that thing. Since the fabric is worn out, you might as well buy a new one instead. I hear the reproaching voices of the accompanying girls group as they sharply rain down criticisms. But nothing they said to me went into my ears. Luke Rudeus Greyrat. It was a former name of my father Paul. Paul Rudeus Greyrat. A love child. Not likely. Paul had long since thrown away the Rudeus name. But since he stated his name in a dignified way, perhaps he is something like a cousin. Shoo, you sure seem to be attracted to all sorts of troublesome people. Indeed. Now, how will I go about stopping all this attraction? That one was Luke, an upper-level noble of the Asura kingdom. Though he is tentatively a student, he is actually a guard of Princess Ariel. At any rate, I will certainly be giving a pass to eating here. Isn't there some other way? Afterwards, as a compromise, we ate the meal outside. Since the weather was cooperating, the earth magic was really easy to create a table and chairs with. An impromptu cafe terrace was completed. Ranoa, upon seeing this one act of magic, was impressed and loudly voiced a woe. I happily accepted the feelings of the one before me who was so moved. While eating, I heard all about the situation of Princess Ariel and her honorable entourage. Ariel Amoy Asura, age 17, a genuine heir to the Asura royal family. The second princess. The Empress of Asura was not blessed with many children and had just one daughter. She was given third rights of succession to the throne. After the Empress gave birth to another, the recovery of the child after birth was terrible, and she was unable to bear with burying the corpse of her stillborn child. In the end, she was only able to produce one with the blood of the Asura lineage. In addition to Ariel, there are two princes who also aim for succession. The first prince and the second prince. The influential people of Asura Kingdom's upper aristocracy competed to bring one of them to power as a king, then drew the benefits of their backing. As is almost always the case, with many supporters available, not everyone will be able to have their backing returned. Because there is a rank in the ministers group, it's a natural course of events. Those of low rank are neglected. Therefore, those who would have been unlikely to be backed by either prince, crowded the naive Princess Ariel with promises. This was the creation of the second princess faction. However, 4 years prior to current times, the group of men who gave the most support had been overthrown. Under the pretext of studying abroad, she headed to this school in a self-imposed exile. Such a princess has two guards. The first is Fitz. Silent Fitz, a person who can use voiceless incantation magic. During the chaotic time when the princess group lost power, he fended off would-be assassins with tremendous ability. Where he was born and what he has done until adulthood are largely a mystery, but the thing that is known is that he is a member of the elven race. Those who can be taught to use voiceless incantation are said to be few. Although I have not heard of their master, it seems to be a tendency to conceal all that they can about his existence. The cover story given was that Fitz was secretly trained by the Asura royal palace to be some kind of cold-blooded killer machina combat machine. The other guard is Luke Rudeus Greyrat, the second son of the current head of family of the Rudeus branch, Philemon Rudeus Greyrat. From the beginning, he was Princess Ariel's guardian knight. From the time he was born, he had been given a special education. Even after she lost her standing, he continued wanting to be her guardian knight. If by chance the princess can recover her standing, at that time he will be her insurance when it is time to return to the succession dispute. They have kept bathing in the limelight since they first came to this school. At the same time they are envied, it seems they are also respectfully feared. However, some of this story includes this one's conjecture, I warn you. So finished Ranoa. Ah, thanks, says Ranoa, you seem to be well informed. It was because myself had been made to check into it. By whom? It was those two foolish people of the beast race. Rinoa and Persena, it seems. The pained face of Ranoa said as much. Was he also made to be a porter too? Ranoa, are you being bullied by those two people? Bullying. No, this one had to admit defeat during a fight, that's all of the matter. Surrendered, Zanoba made a difficult face. However, his voice is flat. If he consented to such a thing it's fine, if bullying is done by those people to make it hard for Zanoba to go outside. If this guy is being troubled, I want to help him out. However, I don't know the power of the other party. Perhaps I should join the Zanoba faction, I think. Among the beast race, they are from the Dorudia tribe because of that, they are like a special existence, they also make enemies of and terrorize other members of the beast race. They immediately take a prejudiced view to things. It's scary how much of a difference in common sense there is. But there are also those who are good guys. Like Ghislaine for example. Besides, I am an ally of the bullied children. Please say if you have something unpleasant done to you, even if I can't do much, I want to help. Shushu need not be tied up with my troubles, don't worry. Instead, let us talk about wonderful things, like the figurines. Zanoba said so and laughed. Fu, knew him, I'll look into the situation for a little longer. That's it guys, thank you for watching, subscribe if you want more and don't forget to like the videos.